fans of the NPL. It is TheVerd here, back again with Power Rankings, and yes, I'm fully aware, before you murder me in the comments, I am fully aware this is coming up late. Now, I have had issues with the other two analysts that would normally do this series with me. Parker is getting a new microphone and is unable to record, and Bob has been having time issues because we all live in very different time zones, so he also won't be joining me for the Power Rankings this week. But coming in, being an absolute champion to help me out in my time of need is Anthony, or IronFlashGaming. So say hello, friend.
You guys know who I am, IronFlashGaming. I had to do it for my boy Verd, and yeah, let's get right into the Power Rankings. No wasting any time.
For sure. So we're basically going to like smash through this, guys, and what we're also going to be doing is kind of summarizing 2 weeks worth of battles, because we weren't able to upload due to some GFX issues last week, and now this week we are just going to be rounding up, basically looking at how the teams performed in the last couple of weeks. So let's crack right in on the bottom 4, because we are very similar in the bottom 4. Let's start with the bottom 3, because we have exactly the same bottom 3, which I believe are the 3 teams currently who are 0-3 at this point.
Yeah.
Which,
so they're 0-3, and they're kind of there isn't too much difference in between them, but definitely a lot of the thing is, I think Rizzy is definitely playing better than the other two, because I've seen a lot of effort towards him, and Rizzy actually came in a lot of close games where he could have won if he played a little bit better, or if he used a little bit different sets. And Razor gets the bottom 16 for using a Regigigas, so yeah, there's that.
Poor Razor. He'll bounce back though, man. I mean, he's got Rob next week though. It should be a tough battle, but we'll see what happens. And also, Rizzy has the Phoenix Deathmatch against Cheese, so we'll see how that one goes, and we'll see if he can recover as well. But yeah, the Detroit Leopards down there too. Again, just another team that haven't really been playing that badly, but it's just they haven't been able to get the result, and that's why they're chilling down at the bottom. But when it comes to the last spot in the bottom 4, we all have different picks. I myself have the Phoenix Sunkern. I feel that they haven't necessarily been playing really badly at all, but I also feel like they haven't had the best start, and I feel that the teams above them have played a lot better in these first 3 weeks. And I don't know, what do you, I know that you've got them just like a tiny bit higher than I do. Is there any reason why you feel the Los Angeles Nido Kings are lower?
Yeah, the thing with the Los Angeles Nido Kings, I think there are times where he's playing well, but there are other times where he's really leaving my head scratching. So I hate to put him so low, because I thought he had a pretty good matchup versus Trev, and unfortunately he ended up getting hacked, which I'm not sure if he would have actually pulled out with the win. But he had a very good mana feed check. He went into the Kangaskhan, and the Kangaskhan got froze, and it was kind of a sweep there. But he left me scratching my head a lot, using the other Kangaskhan set, Wish Protect. And I don't know, like, there are times where he's doing very well. Like game 1, he had the Calm Mind Reuni that almost won, but it just didn't have enough recover PP. And he also used a regen set instead of a magic guard, and a regen set, it's actually very good, but you don't want to have to take residual damage. If you're gonna have a sweeper set, you're gonna have to want it to be magic guard. So I think these are things that he can definitely fix up, but yeah, I definitely think the Los Angeles Nido King, if he doesn't get hacked, I think he could pull through.
Yeah, I mean, like, as we go now into the next group of 4, I obviously have them actually a bit higher, same as Parker actually had them. The reason for this is because I felt he played pretty well against Rob, even though he lost, and then he played really well against Cloud. That's probably the best battle he's had all season. And against Trev, he had a certain game plan. It was unfortunate that the hacks happened, and I think it's because of that I can't really drop him any lower. Like, obviously you can't really tell, because it's all calculations, whether he could have brought the game back. But I feel he doesn't deserve to lose places this week due to the fact that, unfortunate circumstances happened. I feel there are teams though that have been playing a bit better than him, that are higher than him now. But for the other teams that are 1 and 2, I feel that a lot of the time he has been incredibly competitive and definitely deserves to be, I think, the best 1 and 2 team so far in the league. But we do have another few groups here of people who are currently 1 and 2 in the NPL. Big one that's moved up for a lot of people this week. Well, definitely for me, they've been down the bottom for a bit, but I was finally able to bring them up. Was the Brisbane Braylims. They finally recorded their first win, and it was probably one of the best matches we've seen all season. He played exceptionally well to get that result, and I'm really glad to see him moving up the rankings now. But,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. It was really, really cool. I think the Braylooms are actually, one of the best battlers in this format, and it's just now coming to him, in my eyes, knowing how to use his team. And his opponent being the Detroit Lightbirds, he has a lot of 4 times weaknesses. For example, his only fairy check was a heat ran. All you do is pop the balloon and no more fairy check, really. And what ended up winning this game is his only ground type was a Gliscor, which gets easily bopped by an HB Ice. The Raikou, the Braylooms easily established the win con, being Calm Mind, Raikou. He didn't have much for it. He ended up winning the game from a phenomenal comeback. It was very, very nice to see. So, yeah, definitely he's up on the rising for sure.
True. One team we both have a bit lower in this little bit of ranking is San Antonio Swampert. Obviously, after that first week win, they have had back-to-back losses against Maddie and Cloud. I don't feel necessarily he's played too badly. I don't feel like it's been a super bad season so far. Like, he's made some really nice redrafts that has made his team better, and obviously next week I think he goes up against Danza, which will be interesting. But I feel that right now his battling with the team has been pretty good, but just the results haven't been ideal for him, and I think that's why he is the bottom of the guys who are currently 1 and 2, because he just hasn't really been able to get the results with, he does have a very high offensive team, but I think the switches that he's making soon, that you guys should hear about soon, will definitely improve his team.
Yeah, for sure. And he had a couple things he really can overcome, and the free agencies are going to help him moving forward. Week 2, San Antonio Swampers did get a pretty cool Calm Mind Suicune set. Obviously Calm Mind Suicune is common, but he actually had like a speedy subset, which definitely ended up sweeping. So the thing that I've seen a lot from Dallas is that he's either doing phenomenally well, or he's just swinging for the fences, and it's kind of hard to see where he's going to go going forward. Especially going forward with his free agency picks, I think he can bounce back. So, looking forward to that.
Just want to make it clear to people that it was actually round 1 that he used the Carmine Suicune set, not round 2, but it's all good. I think it was against Razor. Poor Razor. You can't catch a break. So, one team that I have a little bit lower, same with Parker, that you can explain is a little bit higher. I'm going to explain why they're lower first, just to cap off the group we have here, because one team that we both have a little bit different in here is, I obviously have the Boston Beedoofs down at 11th, and you have the Austin Toros at 9th. So the reason why I have the Beedoofs down here is because he has been battling well, but he also has shown, I feel, that, he, in the battles he's been in, it's been very clear that there are a lot of holes every now and then in his team. Big one, I think it was week 2, was a Kieran Black. Like, he just didn't have a switch in for Kieran Black, and then last week he was pretty fortunate in which his opponent didn't bring Mamoswine, which is another thing that could have broken through his team. But the fact that even in his own videos he's starting to realize, like, okay, my team kind of struggles against this Pokemon, it's going to help other opponents in the future realize, okay, that's how I can break down his team. And I feel like it's very counterproductive for him to be talking about his own team in that way, and I feel it's going to be detrimental for him in the future. But how do you feel Beedoof's been going so far?
I think Bidoof is doing fine, and he's had a lot, a lot of close games. Um, I really just like his team as far as the bulk, with Vaporeon, Gudrun, and things like that. And he was able to pull through a very very close match with Rizzy Powell. And Rizzy Powell, if he played that one a little bit better, maybe not taking the damage with the Jolteon, he maybe could have gone through. But I think even though his matches have been close, and yes, he does have clear weaknesses. Just being able to kind of outbulk his opponents have I don't know made me see it. One of the biggest changes here. We got Austin Toros. I put him so low, and you guys put him so high. He's had a lot of actually pretty good games. He ended up having to face your number one guy on the list, being Gypsy King, and he's kind of had a little bit of unlucky streak. He missed a Hydro Pump, and there was the game Gypsy King versus Austin Toros. It actually came down to a damage roll where the Austin Toros was winning pretty much the majority of the match, but actually there was actually a couple unfortunate crits on the Almamola, Psychic crit, and it ended up coming to a Beedrill sweep. But I don't know, maybe I am putting the Austin Tauros a little bit too low, because very very good team, very very good player, as he has proven himself in other leagues. But I don't know, it's these middle picks are kind of tough to decide because it's still in the beginning of the season, and you kind of don't know exactly what direction they're going to aim for, especially with all the free agency transactions going on. So
Yeah, for sure. I'll talk about the Austin Torres later on because, as you said, I have them a lot higher. But let's break into the top half now of the group. So you've talked about the Boston Beaters. Let's chat about another team that's definitely risen up the rankings as the weeks have gone on, and that is the Florida Feraligators. They have been battling very, very well. I was a little bit skeptical on them last week because of how their victory against the Austin Taurus went down, but this week they basically, played the game they needed to play, and they got the win, and now they are, I think, 2-1. I put them down as, I think, the lowest ranked 2-1 team, just because I feel their win against Rob wasn't really I want to say well-deserved win. Like, it wasn't a win where they executed a perfect game plan, or, they did exactly what they needed to do. It was more that events fell into their favor, and they were able to win that way. So I don't see it as big of a victory. But how do you feel about the Florida Feraligators? You got them a little bit higher, so I want to know how you feel about how they're going.
So I was really impressed with his game in week 3. So how he wanted to win was with Calm Mind Clefable, and he almost did if there wasn't Hurricane. Was a fun move. He ended up having a Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn ended up getting whittled halfway through the game, and I really think he really set up for the Calm Mind Clefable sweep. He noticed as soon as he gets rid of the Ferrothorn, it just kind of sweeps. And from turn 1, he ended up facing a Regigigas, straight off the bat. But he knew. He let off with Uxie, got off his rocks, T-waved it, and had momentum from there on out. And thankfully, he was able to get the damage roll on Scarf Diggersby onto the Choice Specs. Dude, Choice Specs Tornadus is a lot better than I thought it was. But I don't know. I think he knows what he's doing as a battler, and that's what makes him a little bit higher on my list, per se.
That's fair enough. Well, let's have a little chat about a couple of teams that we both have in the exact same spot. So I'm gonna talk about the Atlanta Braviaries first. So the reason why they're down a bit lower than people might expect, for the fact that they are 2-1 and the reigning champions, is because, to be fair, there's only really been one battle where Trev's impressed me. In his first week against Jolt, definitely wasn't impressive. He got outplayed and destroyed. Second week, he was really impressive. He played to his game style. The Sharpedo came in clutch, he got the win. And then the last match he just did against Danza, again, it wasn't really that impressive. Like, he got the fortunate bit of hacks as we talked about, but it wasn't as convincing as we've seen Trev play. But then again, we know Trev is very synonymous with hacks in this league, and I just feel that we haven't seen the best of him yet, and I want to see him perform a bit better before I start putting him higher in the rankings. But, do you think that's fair?
Look, all Trev needs to do is click Ironhead, click T-Wave, and he's got the win. That's all he needs to do. And yeah, I mean, if you got that, as soon as you sell your soul to the devil, like he has, also, I think when we talk about free agents, he created such controversy that you'll get, like, if there's ever a free agency that we'll be talking about later, there's just so much to talk about with this one. And as you said, got absolutely wrecked week 1 by Jolt, and definitely revenge from the finals. But he's got a little win streak going on, 2 wins. So he's still kind of in the middle of the pack right now, as you said, until he really proves himself. So yeah.
Would you like to have a little chat about the Jersey Dwellers when we both have them at 6th right now?
Here's the thing that I like about this team more than any other team is that he uses weird sets and they work. Like, for example, he used it was such a godly Trick Room weakness policy Pythagoras with just enough coverage, Psychic and Shadow Ball, and that was just clean. Week 3 we saw it was, I'm not sure if it was dual screen. Yeah, it was dual screens, Roost, Mono Ice Beam, Kiram. That odd, sounds very, very odd because Kiram is a monster to try to switch into, but he used it as a defensive role. And between Kiram and Pythagoras, it completely walled his opponents. And I don't know, I just thought it was just really, really cool how he was able to use weird sets so effectively, because I've seen people use weird sets but not to the same success as he has used them. So very, very fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Cloud pretty well. I've battled in other leagues with him, and I've always seen the craziness he can deliver, and he's started pretty well. 2-1 right now. I think he's got Bidoof next week, so we'll see how he goes up against that. But let's crack into the last little grouping here. You've already had a little talk about, I think, the Florida for Alligators. Only other team that I've got down here, so I'm just going to talk about for just a tiny bit, is the Toronto Raptors. You might be wondering, like, why are they so low on my list? Well, they are probably, I think, they are one of the highest 2-1 teams. I think, not 100%. I can't remember. But the reason why, well, no, they're not 2-1. They're 1-2. Wait.
No, they're 2-1.
They are 2-1. They are 2-1. I don't know why I've got the Austin Taurus above them. I must have a reason. I think Toronto Raptors, they battled really well first week. Second week was pretty standard, and third week was just really unfortunate, where their opponent obviously probably didn't notice that the Empoleon, I think it was the Empoleon, had an air balloon. No, it was Lucario had an air balloon. Just didn't notice that, and that was really unfortunate for him. He's made a couple of redrafts, which are pretty good for his team, but it also is going to change the way people build for him, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how he goes heading into the rest of the season. But I'm interested to see how he goes. But let's just crack into this top 4 and get this finished up. So the reason why I have the Austin Taurus still so ridiculously high when they have lost their last 2 weeks is because he did a really good job in his first week with the win. He got really unfortunate in the second week, and in the most recent week again, it was a very, very close battle. And he's the kind of player where a lot of his battles are incredibly close, and it's either going to be a close win for him or a close loss. And because of that, I feel I have to leave him high, because I feel very confident that Rob is going to make playoffs and do well in playoffs, because I think his team has been performing really well. Sure, luck hasn't been on his side, except for the match against Gypsy, where he did get a little bit of luck there, but it happens. And I feel that it's just like, that pick at the start of the season that you feel he's going to do well, and I'm backing him. I'm keen to see him do well, but I also know that if he keeps on struggling, I can't consistently put him this high up the list. But I think Rob has what it takes to get the job done there. But let's talk about the Arizona Carvanas and how they join. I think there's 3 teams currently, guys, in the top 4 who are 3-0. Arizona Carvanas are one of them. How do you feel they've been going so far?
So the reason why I actually have the Staraptors over Togavor is because, I don't know, like, even though I'm not Jolt, I'm okay, it was really cool, the whole air balloon thing, it's laughs and giggles, but from a competitive standpoint, it's like, how do you make that mistake 2 times in a row? And actually that kind of potentially cost you the game, because Lucario is an easy setup sweeper. You cannot allow that thing to try to set up a Swords Dance and sweep your team twice. Right off the bat, you could have lost your Garchomp, and that would have lost all the momentum. I think the reason why Jolt, in my eyes, Jolt would be 3-0 if he did see that air balloon, because Jolt lost so much momentum having to go out into Sylveon to take that huge earthquake damage, because he was either expecting a fire blast or something along the lines of that, and he goes straight for an earthquake. And it's more so that I think Jolt played very, very well and kind of tried to overcome something that you cannot predict your opponents to go for earthquake twice versus the Lucario. I don't know, it's just pretty insane. And I don't know, Jolt's just a very, very good player, and I hate to see him lose like that. So it's more so, I think Jolt should be more at 3-0. I see him more as a 3-0 team than I do see Togavor as the number 4 spot in my eyes.
It's fair enough. Alright, well, we are going to roll into the final 2. Now, these 2, I think we can definitely agree, have been probably the best 2 performing teams so far for the start of the season. Both had very close battles, but also had some very solid wins. And in second place, we've both given it to the Sydney Sharpedos. I think so far they haven't really put a foot wrong. Sure, their match against Palm had some unfortunate hacks in it. It happens, what are you going to do? Sorry, I should be clear, that's the Brisbane Breloons they played. I think his name's Aberforth now, my bad. But anyway, so it was unfortunate there, but he also had unfortunate hacks when he was up against Rob, and recovered from that to get the Mega Pinsir sweep. So I think he has played exceptionally well with a team that a lot of people thought was quite underrated. Like me especially, I thought it was quite underrated, but he's performed exceptionally well with it. He's not there to the point where I think he's number 1, but I think, the moment that Maddie slips up, he takes the number 1 spot. What do you think?
These are hands down the most handsome men. Has nothing to do with Pokemon. And you got to be a fanboys of them. They're like 2 supermen of this league. Just their battling skills outside the league on standard OU is just absolutely phenomenal. These guys can do it all, really. But the success they had this season is something I actually predicted, because these guys are the greatest. But in all seriousness, I had to put Maddie a little bit higher than Gypsy King and the Sydney Sharpedos, because it took a lot of skill and a lot of playing around and a lot of pressure and a lot of making the correct plays with Maddie opposed to Gypsy in my eyes. Like, for example, when he had, when it was last Mon Gardevoir, he had to use that perfectly, and he was able to come through, and he was, smart enough to make, he's such a fan of that bulky Wish Gardevoir, but it was able to pay off, and he continues to make the correct plays. I don't really see Maddie make any misplays, nor do I really see Gypsy King making any misplays. It's just Maddie's really tough to beat, and it's a guy that you don't want to face against. So easily can go either way, switching him up. But
you know, these guys, I would not be surprised if they saw each other in the finals. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think Maddie is still number one. Gypsy is so close. He's so close, guys. It's to the point where, like, the moment Maddie slips up, Gypsy takes it. But it's the fact that, as you said, Maddie has just been on another level with his battling last season. He did exceptionally well, and now he just has taken it to another level. Both have, again, tough matches coming up. I think Maddie has a match against Trev with Trev's new kind of broken team, so we'll see if he can get through that. And then I think the Sharpedos have a match against... good question. I don't remember who the Sharpedos played. But I really should remember, but I think it's the Florida for Alligator. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Florida for Alligators are up against. So, again, another tough match there. But all in all, guys, this is how we see the rankings. In the future, it will definitely be uploaded on time. That is my bad. I will fix that up. But this is how we see them heading into the Week 4 matches, which obviously by the time this is uploaded, most of them will be up. But we are trying to be unbiased, looking at the Week 2 and 3 performances here to do the rankings. And then when I come back, hopefully with at least one of Bob or Parker, then we'll be able to analyze Week 4 and what went down. But thank you for joining me, Anthony. Go check out IronFlashGaming. Probably we'll drop a link of some sort in the description for him, and check out the other analyst videos that he works on. Anything you want to close out by saying?
You know, it's always an honor to commentate with you, being around in different leagues with you, and having your insight. But yeah, it was nice doing the NPL weekly recap and doing the power rankings. We're going to be signing out, guys. Have a good one. All right, signing out. Peace.
Catch you later. Damn it! I ended the call, not the video. Son of a...